Pritchard. Pritchard off the dribble. Pritchard to the basket. Count it and a foul.
What's going on, Ride the Wave Nation? Jake Seymour here, joined GRD, Kyle Baxter, and Reid Miller for another episode of the GRD Podcast. Guys, how are we doing today after the Celtics' second victory of the season?
Breathing a fresh sigh of relief. That's what I'm doing.
Woo!
Felt good. Second
Corey?
dub. Okay, tell we're on cloud nine about the second dub. Honestly, we should have probably swept this team, but we didn't. So, I mean, that's the typical NBA season for you. You're not going to win them all. So, real quick, we're going to recap this whole Indiana series, and I want to start off with Sunday night. It seemed like the Celtics that night, it just seemed like they were doing so well, and then all of a sudden they kind of just fell off at some point, and it was the third quarter. And one thing that really caught my eye in that game was they kind of choked it off in the third quarter a little bit, and Brad Stevens was asked after the game about the third quarter and about like choking leads, and he was like, "Oh, we don't do that." And I'm like, "Well, yes, you do, because the last 7 years that you've been here, that's what I feel like you guys have been known to do, is get like big leads in the first half and then choke it away in the third quarter and make the fourth quarter competitive for no reason." So, I mean, that was my biggest takeaway, is that once again, we choked the third quarter lead, and it happened again tonight.
Yeah, it's nothing new. It's been happening since last playoff series against Miami. It's partially one major reason why we fell to them in the Eastern Conference Finals. And we almost lost tonight for the same reason in the third quarter. Thankfully, we outscored them. I know we were down 17 late in the third, then we outscored them 45-23 the rest of the way. So it was kind of being on the right side of history for once in terms of going on a run and making us creating a sizable lead for what it was worth until we almost blew that again. But I think we can breathe a sigh of relief, like I said at the top of the pod. It's a chance to go on a run, especially tomorrow night against Memphis, but we can get to that when we get to that.
I mean, going back to the third quarter, what friends and I have said since we were watching games last year on campus is Brad Stevens this is a good and bad thing about Brad Stevens, is you are in every game with him. So whether it's against the Lakers, I mean, you'll be in that 1-point game in the fourth quarter, but at the same time, you're also playing the Knicks on the Totter, 1-point lead, fourth quarter. So that's a good thing about him. But like you said, Jake, I mean, it's typically in the third quarter, you always see his Celtics teams choke.
Corey?
Oh, shit, you guys are finally going to let me talk.
Nah.
To, like, brush on the first game with Indiana, I felt as though that was in hand, and I feel like the Celtics could have easily took care of them without Oladipo, and that stupid-ass shot at the end got me mad. Like, all JT had to do was drive and get fouled or whatever, and he was not getting foul calls in the first 3 games. I'm very happy with tonight. He had 10 free throws tonight. So did Smart and JB. And look at what we did. We won the game. I mean, the stars across the league, like in Atlanta, what's his name? The guy with the bad hit.
Trae Young.
He's getting to the line 15 times a night. Tatum hasn't even been to the line 15 times in the first 3 games. Now after tonight, add 10 to it. Obviously, it's not a topic, but that's just annoying to me. But we out here.
I think another
Texas Stars.
Right. I think another thing off that though, Corey, is that Celtics, they had 37 free throws tonight, but only made 27 of them. I mean, you can't miss 10 free throws and expect to win like this on the road. I honestly felt like tonight came down to a lot of luck.
You're right about that.
I mean, 10 free throws missed like that's a lot, especially in a road game.
I don't know if I did it or not, but I meant to screenshot it. The last game, their free throws, and I was completely unimpressed last game. I think they shot 79%, if I can remember correctly. I don't know what tonight would be.
So last game on Sunday, there was 18 for 24, so only 6 missed free throws for 75%. And then tonight it was just for the opposite, 27 for 37, which is about 73%. So about the same percentage-wise, but you got a lot more free throws. But again, 10 free throws are just, you can't do that in an away game, because a good team, they'll put you way off that alone. And
like
the Pacers obviously
playoff game that decides the game right there, free throws, and that's something you can't afford to give up. I wonder if that's gonna make Boston Celtics fans miss Brad Wanamaker. Like, he was literally,
free throws.
he
Brad
was
Wanamaker
mean
free
at
throw.
the line. Yeah, real talk. He was like,
Oh, he was. He led the
Yeah.
league.
when he went to the line, Brad Stevens, like, he would have put him to the line over probably anybody on the roster last year. But
Really
that's
free throws,
just
but I'll
sad.
take bring in Jeff Teague and drafting Payne Pritchard and what they are able to do over Wanamaker's ability to hit free throws, and
Dude.
also taking all the not the negatives because he did do some positives, but he ate up so many possessions that it just kind of drove this team to a stalemate.
So I don't mean to like jump to different conclusions or whatever, but I lost my train of thought right there. I don't mean to
First guest
jump
caller.
around too many different places, but the way that Peyton's been playing, I feel as though Teague is like gonna get out of the rotation soon.
I
He's
don't know about
on
that.
the back end.
I
It's
want to
getting
go
close,
the
but
other
I
way.
feel like you're always going to need that veteran presence on the team. You know, I mean, T's going to be that vet guy that can come in and close out whenever. But I did think it was interesting tonight, Brad, to your point, Corey, that, Brad put in Pritchard over Teague. I think that was just because Teague was kind of struggling a little bit.
I think it's the opposite. Like last year, we were clamoring for just any sort of help from the bench, and this year they got it. Even though it's only been 4 games, but like you got a guy like Pritchard and Teague, who when Teague's on, he's on. We've seen that, but it's just whoever's hot is going to get the minutes that game. And Pritchard was just level-headed, like he's been all season in this short tenure. But I think he's found a role in this team that, and we haven't even really seen much from Neesmith either from the other rookie. So it'll be interesting to see if Danny really hit on this draft with these 2 rookies.
It's funny though, because going back to the Adam Taylor episode, I mean, we all kind of agreed with him. Like Pritchard was out of nowhere. Like we didn't even he wasn't even
on his draft board.
Like,
Yeah.
But now it's like he's turning into like what people are saying about him online. Like he's quite possibly the steal of the draft.
Who the fuck are people?
Google Peyton Pritchard. Let me see what happens.
Weird NBA Twitter. That's what.
You're gonna see me. I was talking about the guy the day that he was drafted, the night that he was drafted, the next day after that. I've been talking about Peyton Pritchard. I could sell you him right now. 27 minutes tonight. I cannot remember the last time Brad Stevens gave anybody that many amount of minutes with no resume. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are obviously 2 number 3 picks.
They were forced into that though. They needed that.
Exactly. And the team wasn't where it was. I guess you could discount the Kemba injury. That's a clear expectation. He's gonna get a little bump, but 27 minutes in his 4th NBA game. I think he had 10, 5, and 5 tonight. I didn't even write that down, but
I think you're right.
Yo, the guy is gonna be good, no matter what. I'm not saying he's a all-star already. I already wrote him into the first ballot Hall of Fame, but no, to get that guy that late in the draft, dude, I'm ecstatic, bro. I'm not gonna go crazy. The internet is already talking Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Peyton Pritchard, the big 3 right there. But I'm not gonna go to that length. But I like the kid and he plays the right way, and we out here.
At the very least, he's consistent. Yeah.
And guess
At the very
what?
least, he's consistent.
But one thing I'll say about Pritchard is that, he's one of those guys that in order for a team to win championships, you have to hit down low like that. I mean, obviously Miami didn't even win it last year, but they got to the finals and Tyler Hero lit up the Celtics in that conference finals. And I feel like if Pritchard can just even do half of what Hero did in those conference finals, that's going to be a huge thing for the Celtics. I mean, you have to hit low. I mean, think about the teams of recent memory. Obviously, the Warriors with Draymond, the Heat with Tyler Hero. Going back, I think the Spurs, they had a couple of guys, too, that picked up in the early second, late first round. So, I mean,
you got to pick. Was the 60th pick.
Yeah, but he didn't win anything. Sorry,
No, I know.
But I mean, those are the guys that you have to have on your team to win because you're not going to always be in the lottery. You're not always going to be picking top 3, top 4.
Yeah.
I like
I know
that.
the point you're making. Yeah.
That's a big deal. And to throw that out the window and say yo, that was our second draft pick. Like, we're still waiting for Aaron to like get NBA ready and like compete on a night-to-night basis, because I feel like there's minutes for him too. Like our star players, like you guys just said, we got a game tomorrow. Like these guys are gonna need some rest. So this fucking guy that everybody says is a sharpshooter, he better start getting ready out there. We gonna fucking need him. I don't know. I fully expect like one of the guys should get a night off tomorrow and more minutes for the people on the bench. I know that Shemi didn't play anything tonight. Waters didn't play, Carson Edwards, and there was somebody else. I was surprised Javonte Green got like 20 minutes too. That was pretty impressive.
He did good defensively. He got a lot more burn than I thought I would. A lot more than I
That's
would
what
give
gets
to him.
got minutes. If you could play defense, dude, you're getting minutes under Brad.
Yeah.
How long before Tremont Waters or Shemi is just off the team, though?
I would say Carson Edwards is off before either of them, but Shemi's been pretty decent this year. He has. I can't think of any kind of sort of blunder from him that he's had to this point. He's been just kind of solid for whatever his role is. That
For what
he'll
he
get DMPs some nights. What?
I look at him as like what his contract pays him. Like he does way more than he's getting paid for.
Right,
you know.
right. That's
And
what I'm
just take a
saying.
quick.
It's unfair.
You guys can continue for a second.
Yeah, it's like obviously it's a completely different example, but like with NFL and Cam Newton, like everyone's saying like, oh, this guy stinks. He's done. Like you're paying him like $1 million for what you're getting for $1 million. You're getting a starting quarterback, a former MVP, but that's not the point. Shemi, he's one of those guys you can plug and play. He'll get DMPs one night, and then he'll get 10, 15 minutes another night, and he just brings consistency. He's not that Giannis stopper that everyone made him out to be his rookie year, obviously, but he's continuity in Brad's system, and I hate saying Brad's system because it just sounds so cliche, but it's why they brought him back this year, and he'll likely get some burn tomorrow, like we said, with players resting.
Brad's system, I mean, I've touched on that before I get to my next topic, but the whole Brad system, I see people like do it on Twitter and stuff. Every time I read that, I feel like so cringy reading that because it's like, what has Brad done? Like besides making conference finals, and like, what is the system even? Like,
I was gonna say, tell me what it is. Tell me what Brad's system is. He's a former college coach that I feel is still in college mode. Like he still has that like collegiate level mentality, and he's still a young coach, so he has plenty of time to learn. But he's still one of the best coaches in the league. But I think Celtics fans tend to overrate him.
Right. I mean, it's only 7 years into
Brad slander.
Like Brad slander.
Oh, it makes me so happy. Like
it's not slander; it's constructive criticism.
Yeah, I mean, Brad's a great coach. There's no one else I would rather have on this coaching staff right now. But I mean, there are times where I look at him like, Brad, like, what is your system? Do you have one? Because that's honestly something you got to think of. Like, what is this guy's system? I mean, you look at coach around the league. Doc Rivers, defensive-minded coach, and then D'Antoni, he wants to get the ball out quick. Very offensive-minded coach. And you look at Brad, and you're like, honestly, I watched you 7 straight years. I couldn't tell you what your system is. So.
To clarify, though, are you saying like there's no coach you'd rather have in the league? Or out of the available?
Currently in the league. If we're talking history of the league in their primes, then that's a different story.
No.
You're talking currently in the league right now. I don't think there'd be another coach I'd want, with the exception of maybe Spoelstra.
Definitely,
that would be the only guy I would
take
consider.
Spoelstra over Brad.
I would take Spoelstra
over Make this team a lot better.
Other than that, though, I like Brad Stevens. Like I like where we are with Brad Stevens.
Right.
But the other guy I want to talk about was Rob Williams. Tonight he had 8 points, 5 rebounds, in 10 minutes. Not a lot on the box score, but if you actually watched the game, he made his defensive presence known. In the paint, I think he had a couple good plays on Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis. So, I mean, he's a guy, too, that they brought in Tristan Thompson. I think it clicked to him like, hey, look, I'm not guaranteed 10, 20 minutes. I need to work for this. We saw it in the bubble lot. He kind of picked up on the offensive end. And we again started tonight. There was a time he got a block and then ran the floor and then got an easy dunk. Like, if he could do that like once or twice a night, he would be a huge impact on the team. It's something so little that he's done.
Yeah, he had a very strong mini series against the Pacers these last 2 games. It's just building that consistency to molding him into an NBA player. Like we say, he's very raw. I'd still consider him raw in his 3rd year now, I believe. No, I think there's a major role for him on this team if he just continues to buy in.
That's the thing, though. Big men like usually take a little bit longer to develop. So I think like this is kind of the year that like he's kind of got to like get his shit together, because it's like Like, you can get a good guard like Peyton, and it'll take, like, he'll have a really good first year, but with big men, it usually does take a little longer, like 3 to 5 years. So, like, this got to be his year to, like, really break out.
Yo, I'm a basketball guy. I wonder what it feels like to be a Patriots fan right now. They mad as hell right now.
Keep losing, bro.
Totally what we were talking about. Correct.
They mad as hell right now. Nah, I'm just thinking. What
I
they
hope-
lose last night? 38-9.
4 or 5 wins. I was saying, like, please let us keep losing. But then we won, like, what was it? The stupid game against Arizona. Didn't we, like, win on a field goal? And I was like, Nick Folk, like, come on, my guy, miss this shit. Like,
Yo, this ain't a Patriots fucking podcast. But
How we get on the Patriots?
I was trying to say, like, it must suck to be a Patriots fan, like, number one team and shit. I don't know.
It's
You
Jason
went
Tatum
two
and Brown City now.
Anyways, branching off. I never thought I would be happy to be 2-2, but I'm happy to be 2-2. We'll take care of the Grizzlies tomorrow. I don't even give a fuck if Peyton Pritchard is playing all 5 positions tomorrow. We're still gonna beat the fucking Grizzlies tomorrow. But to go off on what we were talking about earlier about Brad Stevens. I feel as though Brad Stevens is like, a lot of people are critical to him. When in doubt, like, I feel like it's the players on the court that don't perform do the plays that he makes. I don't know. I feel as though his plays are there, but the guys that are supposed to execute the plays, sometimes the basketball gods just don't love Brad Stevens, in my opinion. And that's a stupid way to analyze things. I'm analyzing things as a fan. You got to think about that too. But whatever. It is what it is. Move on.
Like
I'll move on.
that inbounds and the gameplay last game for Tatum, like, that wasn't the play they drew up. And I'll let you go. What's up?
No, I'm with you on that 100%. Like, that shit got me pissed off, bro. As a fan, like I'm not a basketball expert, but I could have drawn something up better, and I would have taken in that the other team is going to react to it differently too.
Yeah.
And
You gotta do a
would've
pick and
stopped
roll with
something
him.
else.
You gotta do a pick and roll with him and JB and force the defense to pick one or the other. And I think we gotta start deferring to Jaylen Brown more in those situations. I've been saying this since Jason Tatum's rookie year in 2017 when he got drafted. Jaylen Brown's the better basketball player, and I think he still is. What Jaylen Brown brings night to night consistently is better than banking on one of Jason Tatum's highs and lows from a night to night basis. Jaylen Brown's the most consistent, best player on this team from both ends of the court.
I mean, both of them are going to take a seat to Peyton Pritchard in the future. Like, once you guys realize who we have in our hands.
So 1A, 1B.
Nah, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, like, comparing them and contrasting them, like, you could go night and day, all fucking night, whatever. Pick this guy, that guy. We said it on one of the last podcasts we were talking about, like, who would you, like, rather get your son a jersey of? Jaylen Brown, like, yo, he brings so much other than, like, a good basketball player to the team, too, like, off the court. Tatum, I feel as though, like, I don't know if he's, like, a vocal leader. I would love to see, like, him leading the young troops and stuff. Like, I feel as though he's not a bad one, but I haven't, like, seen, like, the, like, dominant side of Jason Tatum yet that has, like, sold me on him. I feel as though he's still looked at as kind of, like, soft, like, I'm not going to make, like, a joke, but light skin kind of type. Whereas Jaylen Brown, like, when he gets mad and stuff, I like when Jaylen Brown gets mad because, yeah, he's a respectable cat on the court, but he will get in somebody's face and, like, just, like, act up
It's
respect
weird. Like,
to the game.
he gets so mad, but he's so calm. Like, it's the more calm and more silent he gets, you can tell he's so dialed in. Yeah.
But no, dude, to have them both locked down for a long time, it is what it is. Like, all these fucking stupid trade exceptions, this, that, like, those are going to come, those are going to go. Draft picks are going to come, draft picks are going to go, trades are going to whatever. Dude, we have those guys, both of them, locked into max contracts. I'm excited. Jaylen Brown's a little less than a max, but to have them locked in is a big deal, and we'll form a team around them. I Sincerely, I think.
Which is the dumb reason why Celtics fans should not want to trade for James Harden.
I mean, we'll get to that in
True.
1 second. I got a couple things I do want to add off to some of your points. I think
No
one of the big things.
in the garden.
I think one of the things with Brown and Tatum is that I don't know if it's as much as one's better than the other, but I think it's that we always thought Tatum was always like all the way up here and Brown was a little bit lower than him. And I just think that this season is proving more than ever that the gap between the two of them are so much smaller than we originally thought. I mean, if you take a look at their numbers too, it's very similar. Brown's 25, 4 and 3, and then if you take a look at Tatum, Tatum is 25, 9 and 3. So I mean, those are very similar stats.
Is this on the season or tonight?
Just on the season.
Okay.
So take a look at like the stats in general. I mean, yes, I mean there's a lot of stuff that goes on off the court that you don't see. Brown's, you can say he's maybe a little bit more of a better defender, and Tatum has his glimpses in that. But I think the gap between the two of them isn't as big as we once thought.
No, and I think I think we're going off what Corey said about Tatum not getting enough love around the league is that when he just got hot in that turn of the calendar in February and March, he was on that tear before the All-Star break and after it, and then the league goes into shutdown, and then he kind of goes back to that sort of sophomore year Tatum or that first year Tatum where he goes through those lulls at the beginning of the game, and he's a slow start to the games, and he picks up towards the end, and he's doing that again now. I just think once he builds on that consistency from the first minute of the game to the 48th minute of the game, then we'll really see what we got in our hands.
Well,
I think there you go. Sorry.
All right. It's nice, though, to me because not to bring it back to the Patriots, but Jaylen Brown kind of has that, like, do your job, like, show up, like, get work done, and, like, really grind mentality. Whereas I feel like Jason still kind of has that little bit of, like, I'm a superstar, like, I should be getting these calls kind of mentality. So it's nice to, like, kind of see what Reid's saying, where, like, Jaylen is by far our most consistent player. So I don't know. I feel like he's still got a lot. Jason still has a long way to go on like being a leader, like Corey's saying. Corey, wow, GRD, wow. Weird to say Corey, but.
One of the things I do want to talk about with Brad is that
all you guys have addressed me by my name. Nobody ever gave either of you guys permission to do that. Like, we're not fucking friends. We do a podcast together. You can't fucking call me my name, though.
Well, it's because you're a MILF now, you know?
I'll transition us, Jake. I want to talk about Peyton Pritchard. He's good at basketball. No,
All right,
I'm
that's
just kidding.
enough. That's enough.
No, I wanted to switch away from the game, and I did want to talk about a little bit of NBA around the league. We got actually, besides the around the league, the Celtics today they picked up options on Robert Williams, Grant Williams, the two Williams brothers, and Romeo Langford.
Wait,
that was expected.
They did do it? I know they were on. I don't know if they did end up doing it. I didn't hear anything. So they did end up picking up those options?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
kind of like common knowledge that they would do that just because of the cap.
Yeah.
They need those motherfucking low contracts. Like Jake said earlier in the podcast, like it's really tough to hit on like later round draft picks, and the Celtics have not done so lately, and hopefully they have done so with little EP over here. What's the next subject, Jake? We're gonna talk about the Harden bullshit.
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second, though. I do want to talk about the options they picked up. I mean, one of the things with those late round picks is that not only is it just hard to hit. I mean, take a look at Danny in general. Like, it's already hard to hit as late in the NBA draft. But Danny, I mean, outside of the lottery, I don't think he's been a great drafter. I mean, you guys know. I mean, I won't go down the entire list. We've done that in previous episodes, but you guys know that list. It was what 20 guys in 5 years that he's drafted, and how many of the guys are still on the roster? I mean, some that come to name it: R.J. Hunter, Yabusele. And the list goes on and on. I mean, those are just a couple guys that Danny picked up late in the first round, early second round. And there's Jared Sullinger, again, perfect example. I mean, like, those are guys that Danny Ainge picked up and have not panned out. So not only is it just hard to do it in the NBA, it's just hard for Danny Ainge to do it.
Shanghai Sharks.
Yeah, that's what they are.
What about Gershon?
Yeah, but he's out in France, isn't he?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
I think he is. I think he's in France.
He's not.
R.J. Hunter, he's out in Turkey, I think. And they're like celebrities over there. I mean, it's awesome for them. But I mean, like, come on, Danny, like, draft somebody.
In the G League for like 5 years. What's he doing?
Who?
RJ Hunter. What's he
He's
doing?
out of the league. He's not even on the G League. He's in Turkey.
And
So that's what I'm saying.
James
It's already
Young.
hard for the NBA to do it, but Danny Ainge just can't do it. So the
You-
fact that you hit
What
someone with
happened with
guards so far,
Romeo?
Yo,
Romeo-
what about James Young?
What?
that guy's he's still playing basketball.
Where is James Young playing?
I don't know, man. You gotta tell me.
I-
Phil Simmons guy.
That guy was like banging ugly ass girls in Boston, dude. James Young. Some gross ass fat girls right now. Yeah.
We talk about how stupid of an idea it is to trade for James Harden.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. James Harden. I don't know. Oh my God, people actually think that would be a good idea to get James Harden. Like, it's mind-boggling to me, to be honest. Like, why is
There
that?
you go.
Why do we think that's a good idea? First of all, he's not a winner. Second of all, he's a diva. And third of all, skill wins in the NBA, but not his skill. He's an ISO basketball guy, and we talked about it so many times before the season started. You need to establish the hierarchy here. Say like, this is Jason Tatum's team, and Brown's right behind him, right? It's like just like that, and everyone else, you're underneath them. It's those two guys first, and everyone else is underneath that, right? So you bring in James Harden, a former league MVP, superstar in this league. You bring him in, he's gonna throw that out of the window. That plan done. Not to mention too, it completely throws off the age gap with that. Because I mean, what we were saying, Reid, earlier, what Teague, Tristan, and Tice are all 30 plus or 28 plus or something like that. Everyone else is under
something
20.
like that. Well, and then you got like Smart who's like 26 and Tatum's 24. Brown's 24. Then everyone else is like 23 or younger. But
Right.
the NBA
Hey,
as a whole is a higher,
24.
it's like a tier of talent. Like you got like the LeBrons and Kawhis of the league and Anthony Davises of the league that are going to be in that championship contention, and like KD and Steph, like that class of players. Harden's kind of the tier beneath that. Well, he'll get to like the Western Conference, but that's his ceiling. Like he's 32 years old. We know his ceiling now. He's not the best player on a championship team. Tatum and Brown, not saying they are that. I'm saying that we don't know that yet, and we're still such a young team that is so competitive that we can
That's
get
a
there.
very good take. I respect that take a lot, Reid. To be honest, like James Harden, I just feel as though the Celtics fans that are impatient will be quick to say like, trade this guy, trade that guy. Those are not the motherfuckers that buy the jerseys of these players and really like watch the Celtics on a Tuesday night like we just did and jump on a podcast and talk about it. Like we do this because we love the team, we love like the players, we love their development. All these other people that want this fucking trade to happen, like they don't put the blood, sweat, and tears into this team like that we do. And these are the fans that are saying, no, do not get this guy on this team. Like, when we traded Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie Irving, like, my heart was broken at the same time. Like, obviously, I thought that we got a better end of that deal. I just feel as though this would be a huge gamble, and I don't think the reward would be what we want. Like, what Danny Ainge wants and what Mike Zarin wants, like when they're building this team, they don't want to build for one championship and get that Kawhi Leonard championship. They want to go and get like 2 or 3 championships. Like I don't know. And James Harden is not the fucking way to get those. He is the way to go get one. Maybe go get one with James Harden and build a crazy ass roster around him. But I don't think. Like, I feel like a championship like that, it wouldn't mean as much to me like that 2008 one. 2008, that was 12 years ago, and I still wear that 2008 patch on some of my gear, and it means something to me. Will I do that if the Celtics win the 2021 championship with James Harden on the roster? And, like, I don't mess with him, like, off the court. I feel like he's not somebody that's fun to root for. Does that make sense to you guys? Or
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
100%.
point I
He's
was
a
gonna make.
diva.
Yeah.
He's a diva. That's what he
I was
is.
gonna make.
I don't think Boston would want someone like that. Like,
Could you imagine him?
Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like they want like the more Jaylen Brown, Grant Williams, like hardworking types.
Or not only, you don't even get to go that far. Look at Pierce right here. I got his jersey. I mean, Pierce, hardworking guy in the Celtics. What? Almost. Arguably, you could make an argument in the history of the Celtics. That guy was a hard worker.
Well, he also was
Yo.
loyal, though. That's why
If
Boston loved him.
That's
I
the
mean-
other thing too. But the other thing too, you got to think of with
Yeah.
Harden is that he had to
Nah,
see
but
everything.
Time out. You guys are talking about Paul Pierce, bro. Talk about Paul Pierce in the 1990s and the early 2000s, bro. Paul Pierce was not the guy that we grew up on. Like, when I was in high school, that was when Paul Pierce, like, he was the big three. He was a cool thing. 34 jerseys, bring him out. But in the 90s, like, he was, like, the bright star on this team, and the team around him sucked, and he had, like, a piss-poor attitude, and, like, he wanted to bail out on the team every single trade deadline. Like, it was like, yo, this guy is like, he's making signs like he wants to get out of here. If Twitter was alive back then, like, this guy would get eaten up into shreds and he would have been fucking requesting a trade in the public and stuff. Like, we did not experience that. That's crazy to even dive into on this podcast, but like, it's so different nowadays. Like, I don't know. I'm just not saying that Paul Pierce is immortal. That's all. Whatever. We out here.
Yeah. It's not like people like say like, oh, you're putting emotion over winning. Like, am I really like am I gonna sacrifice this team's talent? Like I said, I'd rather take uncertainty about our future over what I know what I'm getting in James Harden, which is not a winner. James Harden's not the best player on our championship team. Let's say you give up
And
you have to
even
go,
if
like,
he is, you want him. If he is your best player, like, are you comfortable going to sleep at night knowing he's your best player? Like, that guy does not respect the fucking Celtic way. Like, the championship, like I said, it would not mean much to me. I
No,
and
I want to make this point too that like you probably have to throw in like let's say a Jalen and a Smart to get him. So that means you're left with a hobbled Kemba who we don't know how he will be when he gets back. And let's say he's back to full Kemba. You got Jason Tatum and you got James Harden. You got three people who all need the ball in their hands, and there's only one ball. We become the Houston Rockets of years past with Westbrook on the team with Harden and Chris Paul on the team with Harden, Melo on the team with Harden, and Dwight Howard. Like only one ball, and it never works.
The other thing too with Harden that you guys got to remember is that, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen the reports, but he controlled everything at that organization. It wasn't the Houston Rockets and James Harden. It was James Harden. That was it. I mean, ESPN reported that he used to have say on the travel plans and the schedule of practices. So they said like it was almost a guarantee that if it was there was like no back-to-back or anything, it was almost a guarantee that if they were in an LA, a Phoenix, close to Vegas or whatever, that he would schedule the flight to the next day so they could stay in the city and he could go enjoy the city life. So like, could you imagine if he did that with his young team? That'd be awful. That'd be so bad for this team. Not to mention too, like he used to schedule his. What was that, Corey?
It would be fun for us because, like, when it comes down to it, yeah, we all root for a championship, but at the same time, like, it is kind of fun following like a bunch of crazy ass shit that happens too. So maybe that's what the people of Boston want. Like, they want like a little circus.
Maybe. I don't know though. I'm not big on James Harden.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the other thing
Just want one. I want multiple championships.
Right, and if you get the James Harden thing, you're putting it all in jeopardy. Right now, I mean, I think this is the one thing that's been lost with Celtics fans is that, you know, we robbed the Brooklyn Nets for that package with those picks, right? And you're at the end of that now. You've already passed that point of that trade. That trade is 100% now fully cemented on what you got out of it, right? And the fact that you didn't flip any of those picks at all, you didn't flip a single one of them, right? For either the Anthony Davises, the Jimmy Butlers, Kawhi, like whatever it was that you could have gone, you didn't flip it. So when I look at that, but what I'm saying is that you can't just go out and trade James Harden because now you're throwing off your whole timeline. Before, when you didn't have Tatum and you just had that pick, or you had future picks, you could afford to trade that pick for a superstar like an Anthony Davis and Jimmy Butler. Yes, could that have thrown off your timeline? Yeah, sure could. But that's a superstar point
Only
right there.
smart
James Harden's not.
Huh?
The only smart one that they could have traded for was Kawhi. After that, every other motherfucker that was available, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, all frauds. They wouldn't have brought the Celtics anywhere. Even if we had Kawhi, I still don't think that we would have won the championship. Like, AD did not want to come here, not even a topic. Like, he said no, LA.
His dad said no.
No,
his daddy
AD
said no.
was AD was on the train coming to, like, not on the train figuratively, but like he wanted to come to Boston until
AD?
until IT got sent to Cleveland and they realized that it was like, oh, the Celtics are unloyal. They're unloyal to their players. It's a business first, and that's when that whole thing blew up.
Now, I know exactly what the report you're talking about, but I do not believe that at all.
About
AD
Anthony
wanted
Davis.
to go to LA. AD wanted to go to LA.
100%. But he did say every team was on his list. Like
He
he'll
said
go
Boston was
wherever.
on his list and among the top until Isaiah Thomas got shipped out, and he realized that if they did it to him, why wouldn't they do it to me? And that was one of the big things with that I remember reading.
I respect it, Jake, that you're bringing up facts that were said by his dad or whatever way back then. And I do remember those reports. But at the same time, I feel as though AD controlled where he went and he was going to LA regardless of anything. But besides that, fuck him. He's a Laker for life, I feel like, after like what he did last year and then that contract this year. He's not going anywhere. And that's going to be the team to beat for like the next 10 years. Fuck.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, AD will I'm always going to compare him to our generation's Kareem. Just a dominant big guy who, out in, a small market like the Milwaukee. Kareem was in Milwaukee, obviously, and then, went out to LA. And obviously, AD's no Kareem. He didn't win a championship in Milwaukee or New Orleans. But, I mean, he is in LA, and I don't see him leaving the Lakers unless if it's like for a big payday or something stupid.
I don't know
He's
how
like
active you guys are on Twitter. I don't know how active you guys are on Twitter or not, but did you catch any of the Tim Duncan slander saying Anthony
Yes,
Davis
you did send me this, Reid. You
is
sent me
better than
this.
Tim Duncan? That is absurd.
And
Well,
I want
let's take
to rephrase my take. I am not saying AD is on Kareem's level, but I'm saying their situation is extremely similar. The skill gap, Kareem's far better than AD will ever be, but the
I
situation that
want to
they're
shrink
both put
AD
into
down
is
to size
very
real quick.
similar.
I just want to. I don't know. Like to me, I feel like it'd be more comparable to compare AD to like a Dave Cowens, like a small but like really dominant big man. Because AD isn't that big.
AD is a large man. AD is massive.
Isn't he like 6'9"?
No,
Like
God,
I
no.
don't think AD is that big.
He is huge. I don't know what you're talking about.
AD is a big man. He's one of the few players that I've met and I felt small next to.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
how
6'10".
tall are you?
Okay, 6'10". How tall are you, Kyle?
Like 6'2". Like what do you mean?
Dude, AD's a big man. Don't diss him like that.
He
Yeah,
is
but Kareem was like big.
Kareem
Like,
was a
wiry.
freak of nature.
Kareem was
Okay,
wiry.
take back what I said about that. I was just comparing the situations between the two of them, not
but
their
that's
play
what I'm
styles,
saying.
not anything else
The
about them.
situation, like Kareem won multiple titles. Dave Cowens didn't win,
Yo.
5, 6 titles.
All right. To wrap up your bullshit you guys are talking, who the fuck can we trade Tice for? Daniel Tice needs to go.
I'm not fully
he's
against
played-
that.
Bro, he's played a good amount of time in Boston. I think he saw his peak, and his time in Boston is all done. Like,
I don't
literally,
think it's
I would
that.
rather
I think
fucking
it's just
Peyton
gotta-
Pritchard.
I think he just needs to take on a lesser role. For what he is, he's a good player. He just gets too much burn on him.
Yeah, he's not getting paid much, but like I
Right.
feel as though all the
And for
seasons
that
that he
reason,
was
you don't need to play him that much.
a little better, yeah, you're right. A little better. But now I feel like this motherfucker fell off the map. Like these people know who he is and they expose him and good night.
No,
But
Corey, that's a
Package,
very
like,
good point
him and
though.
Romeo though for someone. Like, would you throw Romeo in? Because I'm
Romeo,
starting to
we
think
just
Romeo
haven't
doesn't
seen
really have a
him.
place on this team.
That's a
We just-
good point, pal.
no.
That's a very good point, especially if Pritchard continues to where he's at. But at the same time, too, like Langford's very defensive minded, and I kind of do like that about him. And I don't know if
Am
I
I
would
the
give
only
that up.
one? Yeah. Am I the only one that just wants to see how these young guys pan out? Why is everyone so quick to pull the trade trigger on these young guys? Not
Right.
saying you guys
I'm
are,
talking
but
about
Well, I'm
fucking
saying like
Daniel-
if you want to move Tice,
I'm
you
talking
either
about
move him for a
Daniel
second
Tice.
round pick,
yeah,
or you need
yeah,
to package him with the young guy to move him.
Because
Alright,
So
Harden
that's gonna be
came
you're
up,
not gonna
don't
move
count
Tice for
out.
another
I'm
player.
about to fucking trade Jake and Kyle off this podcast for Caden right now. Straight up.
Easy.
Do it, you won't.
You.
We're tanking if we do that.
Anyways, Jake, are we trying to record tomorrow after the game?
Yeah, we'll actually take a quick little dive into that if you guys want about the Grizzlies game. We'll definitely do a post game for that.
We
I
can say
think
that
that
post
we
game.
can do a New Year's episode too with a couple Celtics resolutions for all of us.
That sounds good. I like that. That's a good idea.
I like it.
All right, yeah. So let's switch gears and go. We'll head to the Grizzlies game real quick. Nothing much to say about this game, but except for the fact that John Morant's out. What did he get? He had a grade 2 sprain in his
Ankle
groin.
sprain, yeah.
So he's out for 2 to 3 weeks. He won't be playing tomorrow night.
Jackson Jr. is out too.
Jackson Jr. is out. So what do we think about this game? Easy dub?
I won't say easy because nothing's easy about this team.
Nothing is ever easy
Touché.
about this team. Don't say that, bro.
Don't jinx
You
it.
say easy W, we're fucking losing by 30 tomorrow.
But like I said, Brad Stevens' team, we can be down by 30 and we will come back and have it within 1. Like,
And then lose
and
by
vice
10.
versa. And vice versa, yeah.
like
All right.
no matter what, we are always in games with Brad Stevens.
No matter what, Peyton Pritchard is going to be our first ballot Hall of Famer. You heard it first, GRD Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at GRD Pod. Subscribe to us, Spotify, Podcast, Apple, whatever. Rate us 5 stars. We're the best fucking podcast in the bitch about the Boston Celtics.
Music licensing reimagined.